Some people rock and some people roll. Some will make you giggle right down to your soul. She'll talk to the world and introduce them to you. And look at me now, I'm on Barbara and you. You gotta take a step inside the shoes of another. Get to know your neighbor, get to know one another. She'll talk to the world and introduce them to you. And look at me now, I'm on Barbara and you.
Good evening. Welcome to the Barbara and You Show. Happy New Year. It's good to be back. I haven't been in the studio for 3 weeks, and I hope you all enjoyed your holidays as much as I enjoyed mine. And I'm very excited about tonight's show. We've entitled it Yoga for Brain and Body, and we'll hear more about what that means in a little while. And my guests have so much information for us that we've booked them for the entire hour. So stick with us. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to learn a lot as well. Left to right, my guests are Karen Keefe. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
And Katie Cohen. And I appreciate both of you coming out on another fairly cold night. Not as bad as it has been, but I so appreciate you coming to do the Barbara and You Show. And these two, between them, they have so many credentials that if I read them all, the show might be over before we know it. So I'm going to let you each tell about yourself instead of me trying to just read all the glorious things I know about you. So Karen, I was grateful that you and our paths crossed and we were able to book the show.
I know.
And tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, so it's interesting you say credentials. It's just that I've lived a long time and I've done a lot of things.
Honey, I'll tell you about living a long time.
I spent 40 plus years in high tech and in a number of major high tech companies. I had an opportunity to become a trainer and to work with teaching managers how to grow people and help individuals become better professionals and better personally. Along that path, I picked up a couple of hobbies, and I found that the art form of Zentangle is what brought me here tonight. But along the way, I've been weaving those things in through all of my other activities.
Well, it sounds like you're involved in so many different things. And by the way, you look great. If you've been, you mentioned, I wouldn't have guessed you were in one industry for 40 years. And also, when I was reading about you, and I think this is a statement that you both agree with, and I think it's wonderful. Happiness is a choice, not a destination or circumstance.
That's my tagline. Yeah.
Is that an original thought of yours? It's great.
No. I should be able to say where I got it, but no, it wasn't mine. But I have been using it for years to say people are always striving to become happy. It's more of a choice of being in the now, being mindful, and we have a number of different ways to be in the now.
Well, and every day when you wake up, you have a choice.
Yes.
To make it a good day or grumble about what happened yesterday or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Right, and I've often said this, and people who know me have heard me say this, after doing this program for 41 years and interviewing hundreds of people, I've determined that more people end up in their career by accident than by design. Very few people know at a young age what they want to be and do, and then actually follow through and have the opportunity to do it. And you said in one job you found out you had talents to do a different job.
Right.
So it happens. Life happens like that sometimes.
Right. I think I always knew I wanted to teach. So, when I was a little kid and that people were playing with dolls, I was playing teacher. So I knew that very early on. But what I would teach went through all sorts of things, from technical training to supervisory training to manager training to leader training to art. Yeah. So.
Yeah. An interesting path. And Katie, you also have a lot of credentials, and I'm not sure I even know what they all mean. That's why I'm going to have you tell us.
Okay. Well, to tag on to what you just were talking about, I kind of fell into one thing which led to another as well, because when I was a kid, I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I did pursue social work and counseling for about 30 years, working in various venues, from outpatient and residential, and I spent the bulk of that time working in nursing homes in geriatric settings. And then I started to practice yoga. I had done that when I was in my 20s, but I kind of came and went. And then during a stressful time in my life, which is very often what brings some people to yoga. Some people come to yoga for the physical benefits, and other people come for the emotional, spiritual, overall well-being. And that was me. And I started practicing yoga at a local yoga studio and noticed very quickly how I was being able to calm myself and not be so stressed, and noticed that I could transfer that into my work and with my clientele and with my children and with myself. And so then I thought to myself, I think I might want to share this. So then I just, did a yoga teacher training and then started teaching. And I've taught the gamut from, prenatal and mommy and me and baby yoga to teens and tweens and children and adults. And now I'm teaching primarily seniors and senior centers and retirement communities. And although, I can teach any type of yoga, I'm pretty much right now teaching chair yoga because I want to make it accessible to the most amount of people. And people say to me all the time, oh, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible enough, or,
That was me.
Yeah.
I said, oh, you teach yoga, oh, that's nice. And she said, why
I
don't you come to a
can't do
class?
that.
I can't do that. I have some arthritic joints, and I was like, I can't get down on the floor and bend over backwards and do all of those things. And she said, oh, well, come to my class. I think you could.
Yeah, so
And
what I
sure
tell
enough,
people is if you can breathe, you can do yoga.
If you can breathe.
If you can breathe, you can do yoga, because there is a lot of breath work in yoga, and it very much puts you into the present moment. When you focus on your breath, it takes you out of your mind. I say the mind is the time traveler. It takes you into the past, into the future. It can maybe kind of drive you nuts sometimes, but when we focus on the breath, it brings you, and the body, it brings you into the present moment. So yoga actually means to yoke, or to connect, means union of mind, body, spirit.
Hence the statement, yoga for mind and body.
Yes.
Right? Brain and body, I think you said.
Yes.
But
So Zentangle is yoga for the
Brain.
brain, and yoga is yoga for the body, but it's the mind as well. So that's why how we connected.
Well, I know I haven't started at the Sterling Senior Center, but we have a wonderful senior center in Sterling, and the chair yoga is something they offer that I keep thinking I
In
should
Sterling?
do it.
That's
Yes.
me.
You're the one that runs it there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I haven't made it there yet.
Well,
And
give it a
and
try.
there is a Barbara Foster who's the chairman of the board there.
Yes, yes.
And we've met each other.
She comes to my classes on Thursdays.
She's a lovely
Yes,
person, but
she
we
is.
met a few years ago, and we've gotten each other's mail, and we do see each other now and then. But yeah, I want to get around to doing that.
Oh, I'd love to have you come to the class.
But just yoga breathing and I don't even know if what I do is yoga breathing, but I've heard it's close to it. If I can't go to sleep at night, and I've learned that breathe in, extend your stomach, breathe out. Did I get it right
Yes,
way? Okay.
you got it
Thank
right.
you.
Because most people do it the opposite, and I did it the opposite in the beginning too. It takes a little bit of practice.
Well, I did get some help from a fellow that at St. Vincent's Hospital that has been on my show also about
Yeah.
yoga and meditation. But I do that if I can't go to sleep. I count my breaths. And in and
Absolutely.
out is one.
Absolutely.
And just by concentrating on that, I forget these other things of what I have to do tomorrow or what I didn't do today.
Exactly.
So that I thought of that when you were mentioning
Yes.
freeing your mind. Or
That's exactly it. And I do that myself if I wake up in the middle of the night or if I have trouble falling asleep. You know, you count your breaths, and then there's something called a body scan, which I can demonstrate later. Just being in your body as opposed to in your mind, and the breath does make you present and mindful.
And I also have a rule that if I get to 100, I get up and do something. But I seldom, if ever, get there anymore.
Yeah, I don't
It
get
puts
there
me to
either.
sleep. It really
Yeah.
puts me out.
Yeah. It's calming to the central nervous system, and it soothes the central nervous system, and it triggers the relaxation response, which counteracts the stress reaction.
Now, talking about the breathing though, should we be doing that type of breathing all the time? Because it doesn't feel natural. I have to concentrate to do it.
Yes, it's not natural. Automatically, we do what we call automatic breathing, which is in and out, shallow breath, which we need to do because if we didn't, we wouldn't survive more than 4 minutes. So the kind of breathing, the yogic breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, any of the yoga breathing that we do in class or whatever is called conscious breathing. So you're consciously aware of breathing, so that's what you're thinking about, that's what you're focusing on. And then when you do something else, we just go back to automatic breathing.
Now, you mentioned when you started taking yoga classes. Do you practice yoga every day?
I do.
And do you do more than just breathing or chair exercises, I would presume?
Yeah, I do.
Explain. Come on. Tell me more.
She's got a routine.
Katie.
I do have a little routine.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes it could be 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes it could be 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, I teach every day also, so you know that is part of what I do also. But you know, I do have a personal yoga practice and a meditation practice.
Okay. When I brief people before the show, one of the things I usually tell them is, don't worry if you see me taking notes. I promise I'm still listening, but as thoughts come to me, I jot down little words. My viewers know that, I'm sure. And Karen, when did you learn that, yes, you could do the yoga? Your first reaction was, oh, I can't do that.
Well, it was a couple months ago now, right? 3 months, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was like March or April you started.
Right, yeah. And so she invited me to go. I said, well, I'll give it a try. And sure enough, I made it through the whole class without hurting myself. And I kept going. So it's been quite a revelation for me to go, I can do yoga now, which is really wonderful.
And did you go to a senior citizen class?
Yeah, she went to the one
We're
at
not old
Sterling.
enough for that.
Anyone can go. Anyone can go.
They don't card you there.
Well, AARP says it starts at 55, I think.
Is that so?
Yeah, by their terms, you're considered a senior after 55. So,
well, what I like to tell people, and the way I kind of preface my class if a new person comes, is like, focus on what you can do.
Yeah.
And everybody can do something. And if you have a limitation, like let's say you have a stiff shoulder and you can't do this, so then I just make adaptations and I tell you, just put your hand here or keep your hand down. So just focus on what you can do.
But
and
if
everybody can do something.
okay, but if you have that kind of a problem, will you eventually be able to do this?
It depends.
Depends on what's causing the problem in the
Right.
first place.
Right.
And let me just tell you, viewers, that in a few minutes, about 7 minutes, we're actually going to take a break, and then we're going to go do some demonstrating, because you know me, I can get a free yoga class here. I'm going to take advantage of it.
And they should follow along.
That's true.
Yeah,
you folks can
follow
follow.
along.
Because pull up a chair and join us when we go through our routines.
Get up off
and
the couch.
you'll learn something as well. And these notes I was taking. So when Karen first, well, first of all, how did you two get together?
That's a very interesting story. So I had, actually, I think you had left me a message on my phone machine, which she called my house phone, which I never answer. You know, I'm one of those on the cell phone. So it had been a while since she had left this message, and she wanted to come to my labyrinth.
I was looking to do a little field trip with my yoga students and do a labyrinth, which is a meditative walk. And she was listed in the labyrinth guild.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have one of you, but you, I guess, would be the one to give us a basic definition of what labyrinth means.
Sure, I will. So a labyrinth is a unicursal path, which is a singular path that winds in and out and around. And it's not a maze, it's not a trick, it's not a puzzle. It's a meditative walk that you move through at an easy pace, and it brings you to center, and it has you calming. It's a walking meditation.
And how did you get interested in doing that?
Wow. Many years ago, I was introduced to a labyrinth walk at a church in Framingham, and when I built my home in Lancaster, I put one in my backyard. And I became part of the Labyrinth Guild. And so there's a New England Labyrinth association and guild where you can post and find where you can go to do labyrinth walks, and I'm on the register.
So anybody can contact you and come and do a walk in your
Yes,
backyard?
please. Well, right now it's got snow in it.
Well, yeah, right.
but yeah, in the spring, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So that's how you basically.
So I called
you
her
hooked
up and I
called
said,
me,
I'm
yeah.
looking, I think it was February and it was still winter. I said, you know, I'm looking to plan something in the spring. And I left my information and a phone number, and it was like a month before she called me back, but she called me back,
I
no
did.
hard feelings.
I know, I was just like, oh no.
It's a Lee Line thing.
And then I went to her house to meet her and to see her labyrinth, and then she said, like, tell me about your yoga students and tell me about what you want to do. And so I told her about it, and then Sterling is the next town over from Lancaster, so then she,
Yep.
and she said, well, can I come to your yoga class? And I'm like, come. So she's been coming ever since, and we've done a few labyrinth walks
Walks, yeah.
together, and we've brought other people, and we'll probably see if we can plan some more, actually, because it is
Yeah.
really quite an
They
experience.
complement each other. Yoga
Yes.
and labyrinth and Zentangle all complement each other.
And
But
it's all
when-
meditatively based.
Well, is there any, do you talk? Or when you're, it's a silent walk that you're
Yeah,
taking?
right.
Okay,
It's like a prayer walk.
okay.
Yeah.
And you actually live in Shrewsbury,
I
am
do,
I
I live
correct?
in Shrewsbury.
Okay. And word about you and your classes must have gotten around because you go to a lot of, well, in Sterling and other senior centers.
I do. I go to a few different
Well, tell them about
places.
Centered Seniors.
So, because I worked in the geriatric field and I was working in senior centers, I eventually retired from where I stopped working in my day job in social work, and I created this little business called Centered Seniors. And, you know, it's just a one-person business, just me, and what I do is I just go to different places and I teach classes and I do presentations and I do stress reduction, and I could work with staff people, I could work with families, I could work with individuals, with groups, you know, corporations, whatever is needed. And I do a lot of stress reduction and breathing centering kind of work, along with physical adjustments, you know, like we had talked prior to, before we came on set here, about sitting at a desk, and it's not only for seniors, because they're saying right now that sitting is the new smoking, that people sit so much that it's literally killing us. And so how do you counteract that when you have the round shoulders after being at your computer for 8 hours, sitting in a car? So there's a lot that I can do in a training capacity, not teaching ongoing regular classes.
But you were very brave to become a self-employed businesswoman.
I am.
And
I took a leap.
How long? Yes, and how long
I've
have you
been
been doing this now?
it for, I think, since like 2013, for a few years.
Yeah, so word has spread. but
Word
you
has
did-
spread.
But there's a lot. There's more than what the public sees. There's keeping records. There's marketing yourself.
Oh, sure, planning lessons and you know, putting myself out there, which is, you know, what I'm doing now, I guess.
And Karen, what are you doing mostly?
So I'm looking at really bringing Zentangle to a number of different places. Katie and I have put together a retreat, again, to open to seniors and others. That would combine Zentangle with yoga, but I also bring Zentangle to Tower Hill. I teach
One of my
there.
favorite places. I
It's
love
everybody's
Tower Hill.
favorite
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
right? And I also have started to do some work at Perkins School in Lancaster. So I teach classes to the students there who are challenged students so that they can focus and become center and really sort of get in touch with how art can help them be present. We use Zentangle for the staff for self-care and help them help their students.
Okay. So I think we can take a break and we'll go over to the demonstration set. And I'm not going to take any notes with me. You two are in charge, and I'll just do whatever you tell me to do.
Okay.
Don't go away. This will be a very short break, and we'll get your chairs lined up, though, so you can work along with us. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to FATV, Fitchburg Access Television. Each week, we take pride in providing some of the best public access television programs in New England. From FATV live sporting events, city meetings, and school functions, to weekly shows such as Barbara and Youth, Inside and Discussing Fitchburg, Sports Weekly, Weekly Wellness, and Our City. Our dedicated staff of industry professionals and hard-working volunteers is here each week, working behind the scenes, making it all happen. Besides on air, our programming is also shown live online, where you can see our shows in beautiful high definition. You can also search through our archive of past shows and watch anytime at your leisure. But did you know you can also be part of the action? Become a member of FATV, and you gain access to all the equipment, studio space, and classes that FATV has to offer. You can create your own show, volunteer for exciting live events in our studio, or all around the city in our high-quality mobile broadcast truck. The possibilities are endless. For a small fee, you can become an individual member. Or for a little more, you and a group of friends can become part of a rising trend in the future of television. From sports shows to news shows, civic events, and talk shows, you can be in the driver's seat by directing and even starring in your own production. Also, students are free. FATV staff can assist you by getting your new show up and running with professional industry standard equipment, TV studio time, and private editing suites. All you need are friends to help out, and before you know it, you will be on the air. So if you have a great idea for a TV show and want to share it with the world, stop by 175 Kimball Street, Fitchburg for a free tour of our facility. You can also contact us at 978-343-0834 or email us at info@fatv.org. Fitchburg Access Television, working together for a stronger community.
Welcome to Inside Fitchburg. I'm your host, Alex Cardinale. Inside Fitchburg is pretty much a showcase of that work that folks are doing. A lot of conversation is really being steered in a really positive direction, and more is being found out, I feel, now, which is really exciting stuff. Hey, we're back. I didn't have a microphone on. Live TV, everybody. I think you're one of the examples of what the city really needs, and that's, young, energetic folks investing. You guys look great for 150. Do what you love and you don't work a day in your life. Inside the Actors Studio with James Lipton. If you haven't, James Lipton is he's an old guy with a beard. And what Fitchburg is a lot of really good people working toward a better future for the city.
Welcome back. We're ready. We're in our positions. I hope you are too, and you're going to learn something. But Katie's in charge. So what are we going to do, Katie?
Well, we're going to do about 10 minutes. The first part, we're just going to do some breathing and centering and really just reconnecting, letting go of today's stress and troubles and worries, whatever is in your mind. Some gentle stretches, seated.
Now, you and I took our shoes off.
We took our shoes
chose
off.
not to. And the first thing I wanted to do was cross my feet, and I shouldn't do that, should I?
Well, you can, but feet flat on the floor is, the best way. And I have short legs, so if I sit all the way back, I'm okay, but sometimes I come forward. But for the breathing and centering, I do like to have a little support on my low back.
Okay.
But I don't like to have my toes kind of dangling, so I come forward. So I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes and just take a few breaths. So a breath can change your whole energy. Breathing in, and as You breathe in, expand through the belly, and then exhale and breathe out through your mouth or your nose. So breathing in, peace and calm. Breathing out, stress and tension. Letting go of whatever thoughts are on your mind, things that happened today, things you have to do tomorrow. And just give yourself permission for the next few minutes to just be in the present moment. Breathing in, peace. Breathing out, peace. And one more breath. Breathe in and out. So this is called a diaphragmatic breath or a belly breath, and it calms your central nervous system. So now we're going to open our eyes and we're going to inhale the arms all the way up. This is called a sun breath. The palms find each other and then bring it down the midline with an exhale. So let's do that again.
Thank goodness you told me to exhale.
Breathing in. Breathing out. And last time, I like to do things in threes. Stretch and reach and lengthen, and then bring it all the way back. From here, we're going to reverse our direction of our arms, but keep the breath the same. So inhale up, exhale out, and open. Notice the body, the arms, the gravity as it pulls down on your arms. Inhale and exhale. Last time, take it up and all the way down. Notice when you're bringing it down, your shoulder blades have a nice little squeeze in the back of your body, and you're open across the heart center. Good, and it improves your posture. And then what I like to do is just bend my elbows and kind of relax. It's like at ease. Good, and we're going to shake that out. So from here, I'm going to come to the front of my chair a little bit. So I like to call this, well, it is called seated mountain pose. So you plant your sits bones into the chair, feet flat on the floor, parallel to each other, parallel to the floor, shoulders down and back. Beautiful. So this is an alignment posture. And
I notice if I try to put my shoulders back, I want to hunch them up at the same time, and that's not good.
well, if you find your shoulders like this, and it's been really cold recently, so even I have found myself like this, if you find yourself like this, just gently roll them down and back. And that's a continual mantra in my mind, shoulders down and back. I mean, you really have to concentrate to improve your posture. Yeah. So what we're going to do is a little tense and release because we want to get rid of the day's energy. So bring your shoulders up to your ears and make a fist with your hands, and then exhale and shake it out. This is sometimes called the ha breath. Inhale, ha. Good. Shake it out. And last time. Ha. Good. Then we're going to bring our hands to our shoulders. We want to open up our shoulders as we're preparing for the Zentangle and some of the table work that we're going to be doing. And it also helps for people who work at a desk, or even when I sit at my computer. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Beautiful. Hold and breathe. So when we hold a stretch, we never hold our breath. We continue to breathe. And then bring the elbows together. So this is an inhale and an exhale. Good. And then inhale, shoulders down and back, and then just allow your arms to float down. Roll them out a little bit, maybe a little crisscross. Good. We're going to just do one arm. Take it up. Doesn't matter which one.
Okay.
I guess if we all do the same arm, it's better. And down. Good. So just making a little or a big circle, and then in the other direction.
Oh, same arm.
No, other arm.
Okay.
Yep. Good. Good. So most people are very tight across their shoulders and their upper back, so this just opens you up a little bit. We're going to do a little bit with our hands and wrists to prepare for our writing. So just interlacing the fingers, press down, make sure your shoulders don't come up, and then out. Good. This is great for keeping flexibility. We're going to just do the palms in one direction and then in the other.
You sort of feel it all up your arm, though.
You do. Yeah.
Makes the muscles flexible.
It does.
Yeah. And then we just want to move our fingers around.
Now, some people.
This is good for arthritis.
Get out of my head. That's just what I was
just-
gonna say. Some people have very arthritic hands.
Yes.
And my fingers feel a little achy, but the
Yeah.
more I do this, are they going to be less achy?
Yeah, and also you can warm them up a little bit. It's been really cold, so when your hands get cold, this increases the circulation, and this is good for people. So the heels of the hands and the sides of the hands, this is good for people with arthritis, and it just brings increased circulation to the hands. And then just move that around. We can do a little squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Good. You can go slowly, you can go quickly. If you hold your arms out, you will begin to feel it in your forearms too. Good. And then shake that out.
I'm going to put Karen on the spot for a minute because you thought you couldn't do this. You found out you can, and you are doing it.
I am.
What changes have you noticed since you started doing this?
Great question. I've noticed that my balance is much better, and if I was to take a stumble, where normally I would have fallen, I've caught myself a couple of times because of the hip flexing, and the shoulders, keeping my shoulders back. is also
And
helping.
reflexes, it seems like it's preventing yourself from falling.
Yeah,
You must
yeah.
have better reflexes.
I feel stronger.
Well, I focus in my classes a lot on strength and
yeah.
balance and flexibility and core, because when you sit a lot and people sit like this, you know, so you get a really weak and stretched out core, and then when you try to use your core, your muscles say, hey, I'm not ready to support you. And I say your muscles talk back because, you know, they're not prepared to support you. And so having a strong core is that this is the center of your body, and it can prevent falls, and falls is the #1 cause of most injuries, not only in older people, but in younger people too.
Might I get a flatter tummy and a less of a muffin top?
Over time.
Over time. But it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better, and the more
Exactly.
benefits you get.
Exactly. And you know, yoga is a practice. There's no perfection. People have been practicing yoga for many years, and some people do really fancy things, but it's still a practice, and you don't have to do those fancy things. You don't have to tie yourself into a knot or into a pretzel to get the benefits. You know, just the gentle stretching that we just did. Do you feel a change from when we first sat down?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And when you said earlier that sitting is the new smoking, I see a chiropractor who told me 30 minutes, every 30 minutes, get up and move
Get up.
around.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So now I'm going to take you through a little bit of a spinal flow. We're going to move the spine in each direction, which is very important for maintaining strength and flexibility. And we'll just do it once. Sometimes I do it more than once, but I know we're kind of on a time frame here. So we're just going to step our feet apart. I call this chair width. So, you know, just about as wide as the chair. And we're going to inhale our arms up, and then exhale, bending at the hinge, so don't round your upper back. Bend at the hinge, bring your hands to the top of your legs, and just come down. You probably can't see us right now.
We never looked better. Are you kidding?
And it's a nice stretch for the low back, and a lot of people have low back issues. Then, without pushing off, we're going to bring our hands to the small of the back, step your feet back to parallel, and we're going to do a supported back bend. So back bends are very beneficial to strengthening the spine. So just notice that stretch. So I always start off with the easiest and most supportive pose. So hands on the small of your back. Then if you feel okay, you can slide your hands behind. So those of you who can't see behind me, I'm just sliding my forearms to touch. And then if you can, bring your hands to the back of the chair.
Bring your hands to the back of the chair.
Yeah, so the heel of the hand on the back of the
okay.
chair, so you have to come
Okay.
forward
I
a little
see.
bit,
Okay.
fingers
And
down.
you're still been doing a back bend.
Yeah, so this is the deepest. So if this is not right for you, or if this doesn't feel good, or if it's too much, you could just stay here or here. And then we're gonna do a little side stretch. We're gonna bring your weight to your left leg and bring your right arm up. And then come back to center with an inhale, and then exhale to the other side. And now we're stretching. This is called side angle stretch. We're stretching the side body. So in our day-to-day movements, we usually do not stretch our side body. So this is extremely beneficial. We'll just do one more.
Does it matter what time of day you do these things?
No.
No, it doesn't matter.
Some people prefer to do it when they first wake up. Other people do it in the afternoon as an energy boost. Some people do this at night before they go to sleep. It doesn't matter. Whenever you know, they say the best time to take your medicine is when you're going to remember. It's the same thing with yoga. The best time to do it is when you think of it. Yeah. And then just a very gentle side twist. So seated twist. So feet together, insides of feet. And then the hand goes to the opposite knee and the other hand to the seat of the chair. Good. And then other side. And then to one side and then the other. And then come back to center. So we moved our spine in all the directions that it moves, forward and back, side to side, and a gentle twist. And, you know, if you did that every day, your spine would be very happy.
That's great. That is great, and I can feel the
And then you can
benefits.
slide back and just absorb. So, you know, I like to teach in a way where we have pauses. We stop and breathe and notice and feel and experience instead of just moving quickly from one thing to the next. So just close your eyes. And those of you watching at home, you can close your eyes too. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Good. And while we were doing this, I bet you weren't thinking about other things. People sometimes tell me that the class is the quickest hour of their day.
Well,
Yeah. So.
And this goes along
Right
with
into-
the Zentangle. Do I say it right? Zentangle.
Yeah, so
And,
now we're loosened up when we're open and ready for our creative juices to
so we need our
flow.
crew to come in and bring us the table.
Yeah.
And we're going to do some drawing.
Right.
Oh, are we supposed to move our chairs over there, or is somebody moving the table to us? Dave's on
I think
the
the
way.
table's coming.
I think the
Dave's got it all under control,
Yeah.
but he needs two people. It's a big table.
So just as Karen was new to trying out my yoga classes, I was new to trying out her Zentangle class because she offered kind of a demo Zentangle class at the Sterling Senior Center in the summertime. Do you want me to move? And I'm the kind of person who did not do very well in art class.
Well,
and so I was like, I don't know if I can do this, just like she wasn't sure she could do the yoga, but I did it and I enjoyed it and it was really nice.
You never know what we're going to do here on the Barbara News Show. But I interview people from the Leominster Art Association all the time, and I appreciate good artists. And I have people tell me, oh, anybody can learn to be an artist. Well, I challenge them to teach me. So I don't
Well,
know
I
what
love
you're
to
gonna-
have people who think that they can't be an artist, because Zentangle is for everyone.
But it's this
gonna
teeny
run
tiny
and get
little
my
piece
glasses.
of paper.
Yep.
And, okay, go ahead. And what are these, what's my equipment here?
I'm going to explain.
Okay.
I want to get the same.
I'm gonna get a little closer to the
Sure.
table.
So, Zentangle is a meditative art form. And it's, oh gosh, there's so much to say about it. Let's see.
Basics.
The basics are, you start with a blank piece of paper, and in our practice of Zentangle, you start with just focusing, breathing, and getting centered. And so when Katie and I put our retreat together, she did the focusing, breathing, centering, and then I would do the Zentangle and go back and forth. So we have a pencil, a smudger, and an ink pen. We're going to take the pencil first, and you just follow along with me.
Okay.
We put first 4 dots, a dot in each corner.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, anyone can do Zentangle. Now connect the dots, and since I don't make very straight lines, I purposely make them kind of with some energy in them.
That's one way of saying a crooked line.
Yeah,
Squiggle line.
right.
Okay.
So you put the frame down and you put the pencil down, and we're gonna just learn, do 2 very simple tangles today. We're gonna do a tangle called Hollabow. And Hollabow starts off by bringing 2 parallel lines, and I draw towards me. I tend to draw a straighter line if I draw it towards me. So I start at one end of the frame and sort of diagonally across the paper. The paper is also called a tile. I put 2 parallel lines.
Two. Okay.
2 parallel lines, kind of like drawing a ribbon.
Yeah, I think I did pretty good.
Super.
Yeah.
You could do that, right?
Yeah.
They
I could do
say
that.
that the tagline for Zentangle is anything is possible, one stroke at a time. So we only do 1 stroke at a time, and we put a bunch of strokes together, and it becomes a pattern. So I'm going to turn the tile a little bit, and I'm going to draw 2 more parallel lines, sort of coming across this, but I'm going to draw behind by doing this. So watch me do it first. I'm going to pull one line across, and when I get to the line, I'll pick my pen up, come to the other side, and pull it across. So I'm going to draw 2 more lines.
I may start now?
Yep, and then I'm going to pick my pen up, so it looks like I've drawn a ribbon behind.
I kind of cheated. I wasn't staggered enough on the first one.
That's all right.
And then I started going at an angle.
That's all right. Perfect. And now we're going to do 2 or 3 more lines. They could be thick or thin. Same way, I'm going to come across, and when I come to the ribbon, I pick my pen up and draw behind
Both of them?
the both of them. Yep. This pattern is called Hollabow. There are over 200 Zentangle patterns. You do not need to know 200 patterns to do Zentangle. We say now, learn 10. And that would be perfect. So you're going to learn 2 tonight. And I'm going to do 1 more line across here.
We can do it too, can't we?
Oh, sure.
Okay. You said I'm going to do it.
Sorry.
All right,
This
ladies,
sort
I'm
of
slow.
this sort of reminds me like pickup sticks. You know, if you drop pickup sticks.
Yeah.
Maybe we do 1 more, wherever you want it.
Ooh, I didn't leave myself in this room. Ooh.
Perfect.
You tell everybody that.
Well, I do, and I'll tell you why. Because there are no mistakes in Zentangle. It's a art form that sort of takes art in one direction or a line in another direction, and you'll find that everyone gets the same instruction, but it looks really different, and it's perfect that way.
Have you ever been to a paint night? That's
Yeah.
what happens
Yes,
there.
exactly.
We're all making the same thing and it comes out so different.
Yeah.
And everybody else's is good and mine is not.
It's fun. So yours is going to be brilliant. Now watch it. So what we have here is some spaces behind, and we're going to fill those spaces with circles. So take a space and start in the center and add, I'd say, some fairly big bubbles or circles.
Oh, okay, now yours are touching. Should they be touching?
Sure, you can touch them.
But they don't have to be?
They don't have to be. And so I just drew one that's going to kind of go under that one.
Oh, how cute.
And then another one's going to come over here.
Wow.
And all we're doing is filling in this space with some circles.
Does it tell you anything about the personality if you draw big circles and I draw little circles?
No,
It doesn't? It's not like a handwriting expert or anything?
no. The various sizes just makes it interesting.
Should we keep going?
Yeah, we're gonna fill in all the spaces.
We are? Wow.
Now, one of the differences between Zentangle and doodling is that Zentangle, there's nothing wrong with doodling, it's a perfectly fun thing to do, but Zentangle has structured patterns and a process or a method that we follow.
I can't wait to go home and make my grandchildren put this on their refrigerator.
There you
Like
go.
I have to put their stuff up all the time.
I think you should.
I have one on my refrigerator.
Do you? My.
So I was saying, one of the things that makes it different is that it's a structured pattern, and the repeated pattern brings focus and centering and calmness. So,
Well, and you know, it's like once you get started, you can't stop.
right,
Go, this is fun.
I'm glad you're finding it fun. A lot of times, the first time people try doing Zentangle, they have this perfectionist mentality, but we do progress, not perfection.
Well, I know better than to have the perfection mentality because it's not going to happen. I don't have to go to the edges and all of them. Oh, yours are beautiful.
No.
How are yours? Oh, now see, look how different they all are.
See?
Yeah.
So the other thing that makes Zentangle different from doodling is that once we put the basic lines down, we use the pencil and the smudger to add dimension.
Oh, we're going to smudge?
We're gonna smudge.
Oh my goodness, that'll be fun. Forget the last part of the show. Let's just keep doing this.
That looks great, Barbara. And you just sort of, so you're filling in spaces between spaces, and it's already starting to get a dimension to it. This other pattern is called tipple, and tipple is sort of, I think about like stones or pebbles on a beach. You know, they're kind of different.
So, Katie, you said you had never heard of this, or you knew about it, but you'd never tried it?
Heard of it, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Had never experienced it until I went to her first demo class that she offered
At the senior center.
at
yeah.
the senior center, and I felt like I couldn't do it, but I did it.
And are a lot of your seniors who do the yoga with you getting into this as well?
Some of them are.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've been teaching Zentangle for almost 10 years now, and my youngest student was 5, and as long as they have motor skills in order to hold a pen or a pencil, you can do this. Sometimes I'll have them use a bigger marker, and my oldest student was 98.
Oh my goodness.
And my oldest student, Helena, had a little shake in her hand, you know, and she was feeling nervous about that shake. And I said, oh, it looks like your drawing is electric. It was on all squiggly lines. It was really fun.
Pardon me for ignoring you, but I'm
No,
having
you're doing
fun.
good. You're
Like,
doing
oh.
exactly what I asked you to do, is fill in those spaces.
This is intriguing. It really is. And I never knew about it. I never knew anything about it. When you wrote to me that this was something you were going to do in the show, I really didn't know what we were talking about.
Go. Now, we've got
And I got another space here.
find your spaces, fill them in. Now we're gonna put the pen down and pick up the pencil. We're gonna add some dimension to our drawing. So we're gonna go back to the ribbons first and put a little graphite down. I use the side of the pencil and put a little graphite where we went under.
Oh, just, oh, not in the ribbon itself.
Not in the ribbon, but we went, so this is the first one I drew. Yeah,
So like that.
right, underneath.
Oh,
first.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. And on each one of them?
Yep.
So just on the outside.
So I'm pulling it across each one, and then I'm turning it and pulling it here. And you'll see we'll add dimension.
Are you folks at home doing this too? They didn't have the equipment, they didn't know what they
Yeah,
were
they
getting
didn't
into.
know, but-
We can just keep going like that.
Yeah.
This isn't smudging though, this is shading?
No, this is putting the graphite down. We're going to smudge in just a little bit.
Oh, boy.
Right.
It is interesting how people do the same thing and it comes out very different.
Yeah. Well, because we all have a unique nervous system and a unique way that we hold our pen and pencil, and a unique way on how we take in instruction and how it comes through our hands again.
Well, you know, it makes me think of the Gospels. They were all telling the same story, but they told it differently.
Absolutely. Oh, here you go. There's a spot right there.
Some of my lines are pretty close together, and
That's
we're not
okay.
doing it in the frame. We're
That's
just
okay,
doing
not
it
in the frame, no.
or beside the ribbons.
So here's a spot right here and here that needs some.
Okay. You done already, little smarty over there?
Well, I think I went kind of fast.
It does add dimension, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
And now we're going to put the pencil down and pick up the smudger. And basically what I'm doing is making the sticks sort of, or the ribbons sort of stand out by putting a little circular motion so that the background comes kind of gray and softens
But
and
you're
puts
not,
a shadow.
you're not going with, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Okay, you're doing great. So I'm just going to follow this line right across here, making little circles, making it soft. So watch what I'm saying, Barbara. There you go. I'm just bringing that gray out a little bit.
And this is just a smudger doing this. There's nothing, there's no graphite in this thing.
No, the graphite you put down first.
I'll be darned. Who knew I would learn smudging right here on the Barbara and You show?
So what that does is it pushes the pattern tipple sort of back. It kind of grays it out.
Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going over all of my lines here. The segments where they come together gives it that third dimension. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing good. Okay. Here's a, can I help you here?
Yeah.
There's a little spot here.
Oh, I thought I wasn't supposed to cross over those.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that's going underneath.
I see, okay.
So that makes it look like this one's on
Underneath, yeah.
top of the other.
Okay.
There you go. And then the last kind of, on some of the bigger circles, what I like to do is put a little smile on the bubbles. So watch my bubble smiles. I put a little smile right here, and here, and here, and here.
Not
and here.
necessarily, oops,
Not
I
all
lost
of
my
them.
smudger. Not all of them necessarily?
No, the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And then, let me get your smudger for you.
I'm gonna need my smudger
Yep.
again? Okay.
So I then take that smile and I just kind of smush it around, and it looks like a bubble. I leave some white in the middle. So in the Zentangle process, you start with a focus, and then you put a string down or make sections as to where you're going to color in.
Is it always small like this?
There have smaller ones and bigger ones.
Okay.
But the standard Zentangle is on a 3x3 piece of art paper, which we call a tile, because the original tiles were 3x3. They were the first bathroom tiles. There you go. So you see if you put a little smile on it, it's a little bubble.
I can't resist mentioning Harvey Ball, who came up with the first
Smile,
smiley face
yes.
in Worcester, Mass.
Yeah.
He didn't make any money on it. Anyway, I think of him whenever I look at a smiley face.
Yeah.
Yours looks really artistic, and yours is much more detailed than mine. But they're all.
This is the
they're
first one
different.
you've done, Barbara.
That's true. You
I've
too.
done this for 7 years. Now, the process is to start with a focus, put a frame down on a string, put the ink patterns down, then you shade, and then you sign. And signing has a particular process. So you have to take your tangle by the corner, and you hold it out at arm's length, and you go, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
And find a place on the front where your initials can live. So you're going to pick up your pen and put your initials in one spot on the front. And then on the back, see, it says an original Zentangle. You have just done your first Zentangle, and we put the date. So today is
The 9th.
the 9th.
Of January,
So it's
18.
9, 2018, and then you sign it. And I usually put a note on my, where I was and what I was doing. I'm at Fitchburg TV.
TV.
Yeah.
I put B and Y, which stands for Barbara and you.
Oh, and Barbara and you.
Wow.
Let's see. 3 different people
Yes.
did the
Right,
same
the camera
two
getting a
pages.
shot of all
There you go.
3 of those. There we go.
You did a fabulous job. Your
Well, that
first
was fun.
Zentangle.
That was fun. And are we getting close to closing time? Or should we wrap the show from right here, David? Where are you, David? We should wrap the show from right here as opposed to going
Okay.
back. And I don't have my notes with me, so we did want to talk about what do you girls have coming up? We know how you met. We know what you're doing.
Right.
What's the future hold?
Well, for those who want to know more about Zentangle, I teach some Zentangle classes in afternoon. So we did it in 10 minutes. So we did a very quick Zentangle. The next one coming up is in West Boylston, and I'll be in Tower Hill a couple of times this year. And Katie and I are putting contracts together to do half-day retreats,
A 4-hour retreat from 1 to 5,
Yeah.
like on a Saturday or a Sunday, most likely a
combining
Sunday.
both the yoga
Okay.
for the body and yoga for the
Right.
brain.
And I think we've put your websites up. Michael,
Oh,
did we
good.
get those up at some point? That people can get in touch with you if they want
Yeah,
more information.
CenteredSeniors.com.
Yeah.
CenteredSeniors.com.
Or
and
like
yours.
me on Facebook, Centered Seniors on Facebook. yeah.
Okay. Well, you are both very interesting ladies. I've learned a lot tonight.
Well, thank
I
you
can't
for
wait to
You're
go
such a
home
good
and ship-
sport. Yeah.
Yes, you
No,
are.
it was really fun, and I
Thank
can
you
see.
so much for having us.
And well, it's my pleasure, and I wish you continued success. I'm sure you're blessing a lot of people.
Yes, we're doing
And
our
we-
best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we have fun while we're at it.
that's right.
And I apologize that we ended up running out of time, but I think we got all the
I
important
think
facts
we did what
covered.
we wanted
we
to
did.
do. Yeah.
We
And
did. I hope everybody at home enjoyed it too.
yes, I hope they did too. And I hope they'll join us again next week when my guests are going to be, that camera, right? When my guests are going to be Carolyn Reed from Habitat for Humanity, and our newly elected Senator Dean Tran will be here with us next week also. I will be here. I hope you will too. This is Barbara Foster saying good night and God bless you.